Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So as always, quick note about my readings. They say for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, this is for you. And as always, I always advise that you watch all three of them to give you a more complete picture of how these are going to speak to you and which part of you I resonate with as a reader. So with that said, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week, you have the Wheel of Fortune, right, which is great. The Wheel of Fortune is about luck, it's about success and abundance, and very often this is what I would consider the results for the work that you have put in. So whether you've put enough work in, whether you haven't quite put enough in, this is where you get the results, right? This is very often as well, whenever you see this card in especially as a key to the week, it kind of suggests that in some way, shape or form you are in the right place at the right time this week. So whether this is reaching out to friends, whether it's connecting with people that you've had on your mind for some time, if it's a surprise invite or a surprise message that comes to you in some way, shape or form, pay attention this week because it's kind of like you're in the right space at the right moment. So this would be a really good time to pay attention to what comes up. And also with the Wheel of Fortune, remember, this is about making the best out of what you already have. All right. So this is also where the results for something are going to show up for you. So for your actions and options this week, you have the Page of Pentacles. So if you have had in mind to work on a personal business, a side hustle of some sort, if there's something that you have, you know, almost felt like, and it does feel like almost like a soul urge or, you know, like an innate sort of push or pull towards doing something or starting something or beginning something, whether this is a course of study, whether it is a new qualification that's going to take you into a new pay bracket, whether it is starting that personal business. This week, that kind of action is very much highlighted for you. And with the Wheel of Fortune there, it suggests that you may be connecting with somebody or having a spontaneous conversation with someone that literally is the next step that you would need to take. It's like the support that you need comes from unexpected sources, or you just happen to, you know, be in the right place to have the right conversation at the right moment. This is really powerful stuff as well. What it also suggests, because it's the Page of Pentacles, this card often talks about something that is like a soul calling or a soul urge from within that you feel the need to do. Pay attention this week and good luck with whatever you're starting. Remember, Mercury will go direct on the 20th of February. So, you know, if you're starting something, Sunday looks like a better day than most. For your communications and conversations, you have the Nine of Swords. So communication could still be a little bit awry this week, right? It's still definitely in the air for sure. What this suggests to me though, is there is going to be a push this week, almost like you're going to feel like you need to, maybe because you're trying to create something or trying to do something really, really dynamic or in more of an Aries kind of way, you might get the feeling this week that you're not doing enough or that things aren't moving as fast as you would like them to. Try to find a way to curb that feeling, because when you get that feeling you tend to overdo it. It's like you overexert yourself, you overextend, you know, you do everything too much, and not just you personally, like, you know, everybody does this. If you can kind of bring yourself into some sort of balance and say, right, okay, this is going to move at the pace that it has to move, you know, I'm not in control here, but I'm definitely steering the ship. It's kind of like one of those moments, right? Like when you're on the water, if you're, you know, if you're like heading a ship, if you're steering the rudder, you're not in control of the ocean, but you are in control of the boat. This week, keep that message in mind. All right. So for those of you that work for somebody else, again, it kind of feels like you might be in the right place to overhear a conversation this week. And because you overhear the conversation doesn't mean that you've heard all of the conversations that have taken place around that subject. This week, I would be, you know, like if you hear like, oh, you know, well, maybe we're going to have to downsize or something like that, don't blow it out of proportion. Make sure you have all of the facts this week, because it feels like you could be hyping something up and you've only heard a piece of the conversation, or you only have a piece of the puzzle. For those of you that work for yourselves, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, that Nine of Swords is kind of the same. And it does suggest to me that some of the results that you've had of late might not necessarily be as big or as bold as you would like them to be. But again, this is about taking your time. It's like whatever you need is already making its way to you, and the steps that you're taking appear to be the right ones. So don't, don't shoot yourself in the foot, let's say. And then for those of you that are retired, no longer working for any reason, again, with that Wheel of Fortune, it just suggests that you're in the right place at the right time. Now, the funny thing is, this kind of feels like you're going to be in a position to help somebody, and you're going to be in a bit of either a moral quandary or a moral dilemma, where you're saying, right, okay, well, I have the chance to help this person, but I'm not sure this, this is kind of what I should be doing, or if this is my, do you know what I mean? Kind of like my jurisdiction. And I'll give you an example. Let's say, you're the sort of, let's say you have grandchildren. One of the grandkids comes to you and says, look, Nan, Granddad, can you do this for me? Can you help me with this? I wanted to speak to Mum or Dad, but, I don't think they would understand. That puts you in somewhat of an awkward position. And it feels like this week you will have a bit of almost like a battle on your hands on the mind level, because you're saying, right, okay, I know that this person needs my help, but I don't know if it's wise for me to kind of go round it. And it leaves you in that kind of awkward position of, I know I should say something to the parents, but I also want to help you know what I mean? So this week, just be aware that that might be floating around. For your money and materials, you have the 10 of Pentacles. Money looks good this week. The money looks really good this week. And look at this, right? It's right underneath the Page of Pentacles. I really like this because for those of you that are thinking about starting a home-based business, or thinking about creating a side hustle that you can do from home, especially if it has something to do with a physical product that you might make in order to go on to sell, this is great. Your finances this week, it's like you've just got a good head for money. Now, what I like about this even more so, remember the Wheel of Fortune is the number 10. And you've got the 10 of Pentacles. So you've got this grand sort of culmination, completion energy. So for those of you that have had financial struggles recently, this week you are definitely going to feel a change in the air, and that's going to start to filter out from here on in. Brilliant. For your physical health and vitality, please look out for your bones, your skeleton, your structure, all of that. This would be, especially because you've got the 9 of Swords there, this would be a really good time to maybe go and see like a manual therapist of some sort. Now, for your home and environment specifically, it does look like a lot of you are either working on the structure of the home. So, and that could be anything from damp proofing, damp coursing, right through to, deciding that you want to take the wall out or change the windows. Like, there's something about the structure or the shell of the home that you want to pay attention to this week. And then for your love and relations, you have the Hermit card. So you will be feeling somewhat kind of not at odds, but you might want to remove yourself from the family unit in some way this week. You've got that Hermit card, which suggests that you're pulling away from the family in some regard, right? And I really do feel like it's because you're in a bit of a position with either a young person, or if you don't have grandchildren, or even children for that matter, maybe your siblings, or if you don't have siblings, maybe two family members are, they've got an issue, and it's like you can see both sides of the argument, and so therefore you're probably looking at it like, you know what, I'm just not going to get involved. It's not, do you know what I mean? It's not my space to do so. Interesting phenomena here. You've got 2 10s and you've got 2 9s. So you've got one major 10 and you've got one and the major 9, and then obviously you've got the 2 minors there as well. So you've got that 9-10 energy, which means that in some way, shape or form this week, grand culminations or completions are taking place for you, which is great. It looks like you're really heading into the full moon season next week in a very good stead, because whatever it is that's complete in this week, it's like you've already done that. So you'll have the time to observe what the results really were in the week ahead as we come up to that actual full moon. But yeah, so for those of you that are single, I mean, the Hermit card does suggest that you are feeling very single at the moment. But also this is I mean, this would be a really good week to figure out what you actually want to do about that. Or if you're actually happy, you know, just in that space. Some people are, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. For those of you that are partnered or married in some regard, there is maintenance that needs to be done on the relationship this week. Under the auspices of the Wheel of Fortune, it kind of suggests that you and your partner are already of the same mind. There's something that you want to fix collectively about the relationship, which is actually a very good place to be. So with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up for you. With that, take care and I'll see you soon.